Welcome to Soul and Synergy Radio. Soul and Synergy Radio is dedicated to exploring the mysteries of the universe and our place in it. Your hosts, Terry and Danny, are the owners of Soul and Synergy LLC, based in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Each week, they will be delving into topics that are part of the metaphysical and paranormal world, along with spiritual practices that help us connect with our higher selves and tap into the energy of the cosmos. The show will feature interviews with members of the metaphysical and paranormal community, sharing their knowledge and insights with their listeners. Whether you're new to this world or an experienced seeker, Soul and Synergy has something for everyone. Now, your hosts, Terry Flick and Danny Loosemore.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Here we are again. It's another Friday.
Welcome to Soul and Synergy Radio here on WLTK-DB Talk Radio. We have a lot going on in our world and a lot happening out there in the universe, I guess you would say. And we have some really great guests today. We have the Enchanted Reading Specialists coming to us to talk about their origins, their life, their path, their services that they provide, their business, etc. And there are a couple of great readers that we've known for a while. So really glad to have them on the show. They should be coming on about 10:15-ish. And we'll start diving into their world.
Yeah, they do a lot of different things. And it's really cool when you can see how they work off each other at an event or if you have a reading with them, because one has one side and the other has the other side, and they make it work together. It's really cool.
Yeah. So we'll be welcoming them on. Plus, we also have a couple of things going on with us this weekend.
Oh, we do. So as soon as we're logged off here today, we're in the vehicle heading to Alexandria, Minnesota, for our show tomorrow. Tomorrow we are in Alexandria, and then Sunday. So then after we get done Saturday night, reload, head to Detroit Lakes, Minnesota for Sunday show. So it'll be interesting to see how this one goes.
Yeah, and they're at 10 to 5 and both at Holiday Inns. So,
yeah, both at the Holiday Inns in each town. So, yeah, it ought to 10 to 5. Yeah, it ought to be a really amazing weekend. Minnesota has always been good to us. So we can be good to them too. So.
Yeah. And we're just fresh off of another show that we had in La Crosse this past Saturday. And I see Lee in the audience. And yeah, it would have been great to meet you. Yeah, we were kind of busy. But really glad that you came to the show. And I actually had a couple other people who watched the show come up, and one pinched us and said, "You're real."
That was right. Yeah.
Another couple of them watched the show that happened to be related to Patty. So it was really great to be part of that experience.
Right. Yeah. Was it Casey that was there?
Casey? Yep.
She's a trooper. She helped with the classes and just kind of did her thing with everybody. So it was pretty cool.
Yep, and she gave us the lowdown on Courtney. So we know everything about her now.
Life is good.
Yes. Secrets I'll never tell.
Right.
But so that was a really great experience. I had a massage there with a massage therapist. That was wonderful, and I think everybody was pretty satisfied with that. So,
Brandon, and he was a local, and that is one of the things about what we do is, I put this out there, and I hope everybody catches it, that we love promoting local vendors. So when we go to different areas and we get vendors from that town or that surrounding area, we love when that happens, because that's growing their business and getting their name out and doing their thing. So
totally. And as we kind of grow our list of people that vended our shows, it's just going to be really great to be able to provide that to them too, so that they can work in their community. So,
Right. Yep. Absolutely. So yeah.
But
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say after we get done with this week, and then we're done until June 10th. But the month of June is Newborn Renaissance here in Chippewa, and or Chippewa next to us. And so I'll be out there a couple weekends working with Sherry and helping her do some stuff. So if anybody's in the area or going to that Renaissance, look up Sherry Meyer from Reiki Magic. So find her booth, and you'll probably find me there. So
yeah. I like the Renaissance festivals. They are very creative and artistic in those areas. So it's a wonder to watch some of the stuff that they do.
It is, yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, I think Sherry, Sherry's doing a couple galleries there throughout the 4 weeks, and so I'm gonna join her on that and see where we go with that, since Brainerd was such an amazing night. So
yeah. So we also have some other people in our audience. I saw we have we have Lee and Luana and Courtney, and we'll be having some more coming in, I'm quite sure. And please, for those people in the audience, if you have something at 11:30 for Patty Q, please feel free to write it down so we don't forget to ask her those questions. And speaking of Patty Q, we had on Wednesday our first of her series of classes, or I don't even know if you call them classes, but it was called Creating Your Army, which is where you come in with a list of things you want to accomplish in your life, and each person from the group goes and sits in front of the audience with her and talks about all the things they want to do, and she kind of gives a mini little reading and then assigns a spirit guide to them to help them out with their I guess the things they want to do going forward. And as a visual reminder, she gives them a little painting so that when they're feeling like things might be going astray, they can just focus on the painting and reconnect with their spirit guides to kind of move forward. So it's a really great thing that that we kind of worked out for her to do, and we'll be offering that via Zoom. So an in-person version once a month and a Zoom version once a month, so that people can take advantage of the opportunity to have her work with her army to create yours. So it was a great experience for the people that were here, and a really an awesome thing to offer here at the store.
Yeah, that was I was off doing things for my mom that day, but yeah, seemed like it went really well when I got back. Yeah. Oh yeah, and this was the weekend for Logan's memorial or celebration of life in Broadhead for Christina's son. So yeah, I see Leah's going to be there. She's smoking 75 turkey legs for the Renaissance fair themed. That ought to be
for Logan Jacobson.
Yeah.
And hopefully for those that are able to go and go to that celebration of life, that'd be a wonderful thing for Christina.
Yep.
We also have Jackie joining the audience here. Welcome to the show. So as far as some of the things that are kind of going out there in the ether or in the energies kind of that are out there, I'm really seeing a place where we're kind of getting some inspiration to kind of move forward with the things that we're trying to do. Different ideas coming through to make your life better. Different opportunities presenting themselves, and really trying to encourage people to kind of key into when they get a signal that something is coming their way, so that they can reduce anxiety and such like that you can trust that things are happening in your favor. So I really feel, at least this week and probably into the next week, we're going to get a lot of inspiration of things that we can do to improve our lives, whether that's figuring out a new business venture, or or reconnecting with old friends or anything like that at all, I think it's a great couple of weeks to just listen to your muses and see what kind of comes up. I know that there's some things that I'm kind of cooking here in the works, and I had a couple tarot readings this week, and one of them, as I was kind of working on a project, this person came in for a tarot reading, and she's exactly the person I was looking for to help. So it was just like, oh, this is wonderful.
Exactly how it works.
After I gave her her reading, I said, "Can I have your card?"
Oh, nice.
So that we can discuss things further once I get further down the road. So that is a really neat kind of thing that happens to us around here all the time.
Yeah, it is very cool. We were doing, what were we doing? Oh, I was working with somebody the other day, and she was looking for a necklace. And so we're standing by the necklaces back there, and like 3 of them started swinging at her. It's like, oh yeah, see, those are the ones that are trying to pick you. Those are the ones you need. And she says, but I don't like them. I said, don't matter if you like them, they're the ones you need. So I kind of find that to be funny as well. But also, a couple of things in, energetically is a lot of things are coming to head and a lot of things are coming to truth. And doing some backtracking and looking at some stuff, 2023 and 2024 are all about things coming to truth. So, be aware of what you're getting, what you're feeling, and and enjoy knowing that things are going to be shown, the truths are going to be shown. The other thing was I seen, oh my gosh, it was something going into something. It was astrology, and from May of this year to May of next year, so we have 12 months of financial growth and manifestation happening. So some house is going into some moon or whatever it is. I can't remember, but I'm not good at astrology. But
yeah. And then we have Divination Lab here, and Divination Lab is where people come in with the divination tools, the tarot cards, the pendulums, the divining rods, all that stuff that they buy, and they think, oh, this is great, I'm going to use them, but they end up sitting on their shelf collecting dust. So they come in and we practice with the tools that they bought and other tools that we have available, and then we kind of do readings with each other on each other to kind of practice those techniques. But some interesting things that are coming up in Divination Lab is that we're going to start working on our own tarot deck. We have experience in creating tarot decks, so we're going to kind of work on creating our own. And also another project is writing a book of prophecies. If anything, we found out is that we have a lot of talented people that attend Divination Lab. So why not create something such as like a book of prophecies for a specific time period coming up? So I think we've all heard of Nostradamus. Well, we're just as good. So we're going to see what we can come up with and kind of put out there as kind of our version of those type of things. So I know that I've encouraged some others to do the same. But I think that as in a group setting, I think it would be just as fun as individuals doing it as well. So I think it's a great opportunity to kind of put something out there.
Yeah, that's interesting because you're just talking about that. Yesterday, I was watching the series from Dolores Cannon when she got messages from Nostradamus.
Yeah.
So
and she wrote a couple books on those things too.
Yeah. So
we have some more guests joining us. We have Jamie and Tina joining the show. Oh, we got a question, so we got to hang on to that for when Patty comes in.
Greg. Sorry. Todd has highlighted it for us. So to say.
Wonderful. So, and Sylvia just joined. Thank you for joining us, Sylvia. Hopefully you enjoy the show.
So you're talking about things that we do here, so we also do Finding Your Path. And this group in Eau Claire is quite an amazing group that we have. It's, there's anywhere from 10 to 15 people that come, and I set a theme for the show or for the for the class, so to speak. And truly, it is more of a get together of people just working through their stuff and talking about bringing up subjects, and then everybody kind of chimes in to help them find their path, so to speak.
Mhm.
But yeah, that is a really cool thing. And, that's a project. I liked it that you said that you guys are doing a project, because Danny does Divination Lab. I do Finding Your Path. And maybe we'll have to figure out a project for this group too.
Yeah. So I see we have the Enchanted Reading Specialists waiting in the wings. So we're really excited to have them and to talk about everything in their world for this segment. So why don't we welcome them to the show? Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
I wasn't sure if you guys were going to be together or at your separate places, but this is really cool.
Wonderful. We didn't know if we'd have 4 Brady Bunch boxes or 3, so that's great. Wonderful. So how are you guys doing today?
We're good. Yeah, energy is finally clearing a little. It's not quite as heavy as it has been, so woo-hoo!
Right?
Yeah, you had joined us down in La Crosse for the show. It was great to see you there. Couldn't really necessarily connect. We were kind of so busy, but really great to have you on the show to talk about your world, your life, your path, your future, your business, all of that kind of stuff. So why don't we start off with you kind of introducing yourselves to the audience and what you're all about.
Okay.
You want to go first?
Sure. So I'm Kris.
I'm Stacey.
And we are the Enchanted Reading Specialists. We have been called to do soul coaching. And we use our gifts and tools to help people on their soul's journey and their pathways. So we use mediumship, we use empathic abilities, we use Reiki, all of those tools. Yeah.
So all the above to kind of work things through.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So how did you guys meet each other?
Well, we met each other at our day job. We are both trained master educators, reading specialists, and we worked at the same company together and got to know each other. After about a year of working together, we just got a little closer. I actually confided in Kris about my gifts. I was still keeping them pretty close at that point and not letting a lot of people know about it except friends. And she said, oh, she had those abilities too. So you know how you're just drawn towards the people and you know who you can trust, right? Mm-hmm. And so we thought, oh, we would start out by having some little get-togethers with friends and friends that were interested in it, but didn't necessarily think or believe that they had any gifts, but they always loved to get a reading. And so we started out doing readings together.
And that was just off the cuff or off the fly, because Stacey started reading and all of a sudden I started getting different messages too. So I received message at that time, which is where we started. I was receiving messages through smells and music lyrics. And
I first get a feeling and emotion will hit me and I will sense something that is there. And that's usually the first inkling I get. And then I have to dial it in and I can see things and hear things. But
lately we've been commingling. So
the longer you work together, you start picking up on some of the other's gifts, I guess.
So now she gets to smell and I get to see things and I want to give it back to her because I'm more comfortable with smell. And things out of the side of my eyes yesterday, I was like, whoa, you take it back. I don't want this one.
Right.
People love the smell. Music lyrics, I can handle that, but I never know who's singing it or even what the name of the song is. I just get part of a lyric, and this one knows every song, title, singer,
movie lyric,
year it came out, everything. So
awesome. So
Right.
let's start off with Kris. When did you know you had gifts? Was it childhood, teenage, adult? Kind of talk about how your gifts came about.
Oh, yeah, that's a journey, right? That's a journey. So back in my day, because I'm at that age of whatever we're calling that, I actually had I had a stuffed animal that the spirit came through that. So I can remember being 3 and talking to my stuffed animals that were coming to life, and having some imaginary friends. But back in the day, that was, ooh, there's something wrong with you. We need to take you to a counselor. So I realized when I hit school that I needed to shut that down pretty quickly. I think I was in 3rd grade when I was like, oh, I can't. So then I kind of shut it down, and ended up in a relationship where it was vampired from me. And this one helped me bring them back to the surface. So I've always gotten premonition dreams. That's another one that didn't go away during that time. And then as we started talking and started exchanging energy, she helped me open up and also get out of that yucky relationship where all of that, I was in a narcissistic relationship. So a lot of empaths get drawn to narcissists, right? Or narcissists get drawn to empaths. And I didn't realize that all of my energy was going that way, until someone held a mirror up. And so she saved me on that one. And so then as soon as I connected with Stacey, those gifts started flooding right back in. And I was like, whoa, too much energy, slow down.
Yeah.
And then, of course, as you go through, I ended up becoming a Reiki master, and then they really flew in. So, yeah, I think about the age of 3 is when I was conscious of it. But unfortunately, in my day, it was shut it down. Don't let anyone know.
So have you ever, like, even in the in-between time, knew something was going to happen and it did, and all of that?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I did. I would get dreams or feelings. I remember when I was in grade school, I was really sick to my stomach one night and I could smell smoke. And when I got to school, then and I just had this really foreboding feeling. I must have been in about 4th grade. Maybe it was after the 3rd grade thing where I had to go see a counselor. And so I shut that down. But I got to school the next day and my friend's house had burned.
Oh.
And so I get, and then it's like, what do you do with that as a kid, right? You just tuck it, you keep tucking it in, and tucking it down and trying to shove it down. And there's where the shadows are.
Right.
Yeah, especially if you don't have parents that help guide that, you don't feel safe with it and all that stuff. Yeah.
Right. So then when I had my kids, my daughter is very gifted with this as well. She came into the world. She's a very old soul. And I didn't shut it down for her. Even though mine were shut down, I was encouraging her. And now we've just flip-flopped because the energy is too much for her and she has to kind of keep her guard up, because it's too much for her right now. So I'm wide open and she's shutting down a little bit.
Yeah, I know with some previous guests that they kind of grew up with this stuff, that they've made some comments about their experience in school. Did you ever kind of use it to your advantage in school or otherwise, that you thought, I kind of have this advantage, so why don't I use it?
You know what? Not consciously. If I did, I wasn't conscious about it. Because again, it was, don't let anyone know that it was all tucked. Don't let anyone know that you're different. Don't let anyone know this because you'll end up, who knows where you'll end up and what will the neighbors think?
Right.
What will the neighbors think? Yeah. And now we live in a world of who cares what the neighbors think?
Right.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, how about you, Stacey?
Well, so I don't forget, I'll answer that part of the question. If you ever used it to your advantage, because until I was much older, I could always read people. I intuitively knew things about them, things that were going on in their life. You could sense who to trust and who not to trust, those kind of things. And I really just thought that was normal. I didn't think anything different of it until I was an adult and had made comments to some friends, and they're like, what do you mean you can tell this person's a creep, or this one's struggling with their marriage, or, you know, I'm like, well, can't you? Can't you tell that? And I'm like, no, nothing at all. Like, they seem very charming. And I'm like, oh no, that's a bad energy. And then something would happen to bring it to light within a few weeks. And they'd be like, how did you know that? So I never even realized the intuitive part, the empathic piece that could tap into what others were feeling was something that was not being experienced by everyone around me. But as far as how young I knew, I was always drawn. I was raised Catholic, and I believed, you know, in angels and heaven and the devil and all of those, that type of thing.
Good thing you're recovering now.
Yes, I am now. I'm a recovering Catholic now. So there were different things that happened throughout my life that I thought were like magical, that I, you know, I remember the night my grandpa died. I was very close to him, and something woke me up in the early morning, enough that I remember looking at my clock and thinking, why did I just get jolted awake, right? And then when I actually got up, here my mom was gone. My dad said he had passed at about, I think it was 2:30 in the morning. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, it's like seeing synchronicities like that and knowing that, being open to things happening, that was kind of always a part of it. But seeing spirits, I would say maybe as a teenager, I kind of started sensing those things, but being Catholic was very scared to acknowledge them and to interact with them. So seeing them, for initially it'd be like an energy disturbance, and then maybe it'd be a shadow, and then pretty soon it would be a more full-figured spirit. But thinking, I don't dare, you know, that would be, that's opening yourself up to all sorts of evil. Yes, thank you. And then I had some experiences where I really felt angels had saved me. And I started being called more and more spirits were appearing, and I started looking into it more. Thankfully, had a friend who had a sister, two sisters actually, that kind of lived in this world, and introduced me to them. And they taught me how to ground myself, how to use my boundaries, and allowed me to open up to the spirits in the room where I felt safe and protected. And after that point, I just allowed it to happen. And, you know, I still was careful of who I shared it with. I still have family that does not accept it and prays for my soul every day.
Yeah, I got one of those too.
Yeah, right. I just kind of laugh and take it for what it's worth now, because, you know, feeling this close to source is something that I feel bad that they don't experience, and that they have to fear it, and that they don't understand. So, you know, everyone's on their own journey. But
yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're at the bottom of the hour, so we have to take a little break, and then we'll come back and continue the conversation.
Sounds good.
Paranormal Party. Based in Wisconsin, is a small paranormal investigation team that believes in the stigma of those who believe in the afterlife. Paranormal Party strives to bring positive energy into all their investigations. They have investigated several locations, including haunted homes, jails, asylums, schools, and more. Every team has a tale, so let Jamie Lynn, Joe, and Keziah share not only their experiences, but also their stories. Paranormal Party. Contact them today. Just search Paranormal Party WI online.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Soul and Synergy Radio. We have Kris and Stacey from the Enchanted Reading Specialists with us today, talking about everything to do with their world, their business, their lives, and whatnot. But we do have a question from one of the viewers,
Can we hold just
Lee
a second?
Warner. What?
Just a second. So I don't forget to do this.
Oh,
Mary,
okay.
and you guys know who Mary is, said that she can't message, but she wants me to let you know that she's watching you guys.
Oh, hey, Mary.
Yeah, and Lee said, if Kris or Stacey or either of you two can answer the present location question for me, I would appreciate it. Now, Lee, I don't know what that means.
Oh, it's up. Up.
What?
I think it's up. Go up to the messages.
Okay. That's one for Patty.
Oh, if anyone has it. Okay. Yeah, well, then Lee will have to clarify for us.
Yeah, so just clarify for us, Lee, what you're looking for. So a lot of what we kind of do on the show, we talk metaphysical and paranormal and all of that, and where the two mix in between. Have you ever been on a ghost hunt?
Unknowingly, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, like you're
Right.
you're in spaces and you just go, "Ooh, this is haunted." You know,
Yeah.
you feel it and you can see it and tap into it. I think, I don't know. I was always drawn to places that where spirits lived. I mean, I love cemeteries. Going to haunted places.
Yeah, I a few years ago took a trip to Scotland, and in the castles, wow, that's something happening there.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, and some of those graveyards too that are like thousands of years old. That there were lots of spirits were telling their stories while I was walking through with friends who I didn't let, they're still friends that we don't talk about this kind of thing. And so I had a whole different experience on that trip than a lot of the other people that I was with.
Yeah, it's just that sometimes, paranormal groups are looking for people like you to kind of go in and work with them. I just wasn't sure if you had that experience quite yet.
I've had people that have sensed. I've had a couple of friends that suspect that they have something going on in their home, and they, would like us to come in and, figure out if it's something that they need to be concerned about, if they need to clear it or not. And more often than not, it isn't. Like they're sensing something, but it's usually a loved one.
Right.
From my experience, that of the people who've asked for my help anyway.
And we've had more, I think for us, we've had more experiences of people crossing. And unknowingly, I helped my grandmother cross because I was still not knowing, I was tucking this down, but unknowingly, I was talking to her mom and dad and my grandfather, in the in-between and telling her it was okay to go and helping her cross. And I unknowingly helped my ex-father-in-law cross. And then we were in the middle of a reading and I had a cousin come through in the middle. Well, we had just finished up the reading and I'm like, we can't go yet. We have to stay on this call. Even our client had left. And my cousin was he was crossing over and was having a little bit of trepidation. And I said, Grandma's right there. Just grab her hand, So as far as the paranormal, I think our experiences have been more with helping loved ones or helping other people's loved ones cross over.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, I've had great experiences being read by the two of you on a couple of different occasions. But when a client sits in front of you, what can they expect to happen? How do you start the reading and all of that? For potential clients that are watching, What
Sure.
should they expect as soon as they plop down, and what's going to happen?
We're gentle. Yeah. And we actually have a conversation with them first. We build that into the reading. We have a conversation about what your intention is for this reading. And we talk about all the different tools. So that's for like, if someone wants to come for a reading or if they come for Reiki. We've had several clients who've never done Reiki before. And that, you can feel the nervous energy coming off them. So we just, sit down and have a conversation first, and then talk through the Reiki that we do is more about the soul coaching piece. So we help people with shadows that they can't get to on their own when we go through all the chakras and we shine lights on those shadows and kind of do a little bit of healing a little bit at a time. Instead of, I know, some go straight for that and some want that, just depends on where the person is at in their journey. But if we're at an expo and we only have 20 minutes, then we let people choose their own adventure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Oftentimes people come when they book a session, even if it's, they want to come for a reading and they want to hear from a loved one that's crossed over, or they really want a life path question. They're like, I don't know what to do. I'm at a crossroads. What's in the future for me? They get their answers, but there's always something a little deeper. We always can sense something that's going on deeper inside of them, like why the need was to talk to the person, or what's holding them back. It's not, it's not just, well, I didn't get the job that I wanted, but it's, well, why didn't you go after the job that you wanted? There's something
blocking that,
laying in your shadows that is preventing that. And so that's, part of how to explain the soul coaching piece is helping them recognize themselves, what could be holding them back in their life from living their best life, and understanding, their own gifts. We do get people that come to us, we feel we draw people in that have had similar experiences to us because they recognize somehow like we can help them because we've lived through that. So whether it's domestic violence and or living with a narcissist that comes in front of us, or if it's someone that's battling with their religion, they end up with, or a lot of times their kids will be having the same issues that one of us has had with one of our children.
Yeah.
So, there's reasons for all of it. We know this, right? There's no consequences. And so we will have a lot of those type of clients that come searching, and then we're able to help them through by giving them messages from either their spirit guides or loved ones that have crossed over that have messages for them. So it's healing no matter what.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I was just going back and looking at Lee's question. And so apparently she has presents for her friends and they disappear and she can't find them. She's wondering if you might know or can tune in to find out where they go.
Or give them the readings here. Okay.
Every once in a while, not a lot.
Let's see. We hate to have dead air for you live, but it takes us a second to tap into that.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Just a quick hit.
Yeah. Where the presents are.
It's in a drawer somewhere. It's in a drawer.
I feel like it's underneath like they're in a bag underneath something.
By a drawer.
Yeah. Do you have a closet with a dresser next to it, Lee? Because I'm sensing it more next to, but with stuff that's kind of piled on top of it.
Okay. I guess we'll see if that kind of works.
We'll see.
A little quick thing, yeah. But we do have sometimes questions like that roll on through. But another question that I have is, how do you deliver not so good messages? I know when I'm doing tarot readings and things are coming through, I ask myself, do I filter this? Do I not filter this? Do I just say it and get it over with? How do you handle the bad messages?
That is such a good question, because we've talked about that a lot. A lot of times we leave it up to the client. So when a client, obviously, if they book a session with us, they are open to it, but we still ask permission to tap into energy. We won't tap in without consent. But at an expo, when it's way out everywhere, we just say, you know, there's some information that's quite private. And are you sure that you are open to receive all messages today, good, bad, ugly, otherwise? And if they say yes, then we sometimes filter depending on what the message is, and sometimes
coaching questions.
Questions, yeah.
To lead us to, are they really ready to hear it? If they brought a friend with them, like some people just sit down and, well, this will be fun. Let's tell me whatever you see. You know,
right,
they don't have any need or desire. They'll sit down and like, oh, so what was your hope for today? I don't know. I've never done this before. Well, is there anyone you want to talk to on the other side? No, not really. Okay. Do you have any questions for your spirit guides or anything? Well, I don't know, just anything you get, you know, like they just want an experience, right? And then when stuff starts coming through, and we've had many times where we're like, okay, this is personal. And I know you have a friend or a child. Oftentimes those are the hardest ones, because there's things that they don't mind their friend hearing, but they don't want their kid hearing, you know? So,
So then we suggest a different private session, or if it's in a private session, we ask, like you said, Danny, asking your guides, is this person ready for what you're sending me? I mean, I know you're sending it to me for a reason, and yes, they're supposed to be ready, but are we really, really ready? Like there's a little bit of the ego taking over every once in a while, because you just have to be really careful, because, you know, the layers, when you start to dig into the layers of things, it's going to dig up other layers. So we always try to, in the soul coaching piece, which is kind of where we're moving toward, because it seems like that's what we're doing all the time. We actually give people things to work on. So here's what we're seeing, and here's a little exercise to help with that, right? So like if there's something that, and we ask guides, well, what is it that's going to help them move this piece along? What is the exercise we can give them? And sometimes it's journaling, and sometimes it's drawing a card, and sometimes it's mirror work, and sometimes it's meditating. And so it just depends on, you know, whatever that person is dealing with.
I do think like we see things sometimes that they weren't part of the question that people came with. And so those hard things, you know, like you might have a couple in front of you that you see down the road, like this is not a good relationship. This, you know, is going to part ways. But that's not the question they came in with. And so if the question doesn't come around to that,
then we don't answer it.
No, I mean, that's.
I like the disclaimer I use anyways. Just remember, these aren't mine. This is coming from spirit. I love you, and here you go.
Right.
I have to do that all the time, because when I channel, their voice will come through, and I don't swear a lot personally. And I don't know who the client across from me, you know, how they feel about that. But when I'm channeling and
the swear words
start coming, I feel like I have to be apologizing and saying, you know, like, so we use that disclaimer too. Or if she can tell I start channeling, then she'll say, okay, these are coming from your loved one, not from her, because she knows like it's hard for me to come out of that to say it and then still keep channeling. You know, you're living in both worlds there for a hot second, but I will feel embarrassed sometimes, because I don't know if what I'm saying is going to offend the person.
And that's where so there's the commingling. Every once in a while I'll get a little bit of a channel, and I get the swear words because I don't have a problem dropping that. If that's it. But you know, that's how we're yin and yang, right? I'm like, just say it, because that's how they're gonna know it. You know what's really difficult though? I'll tell you what's really difficult. We do a lot of equity work in our day jobs, And when we have, and we're very sensitive to the BIPOC, LGBTQIA communities, but when we're sitting and she starts channeling, she's a white woman, and when she starts channeling a Black man, that is hard, because that's when we have to say, are you sure you're open to all messages? And then that's when I have to say, she's channeling, this is not her right now. And we actually had to have a follow-up conversation with a client we had once, and she's like, no, I'm so glad you did that, because that was him. That was really him. You were using his words coming through, but like she'll go into, I mean, she just absolutely channels, right? So the accents come through, or the, the dialect, the idiosyncrasies come through. But that's a tough one, because, you don't know how to navigate that all the time. And we're so sensitive to the, I mean, I have brown children, so their lived experience is very different than I as a white woman. So we, try to be very, that one we step into lightly. Yeah, probably. That's the one, that's the hardest one that we deal with.
Mm-hmm. That has to be difficult, because what if some words come through that it's just like, what do you do with that?
I'll tell you this example. It was a Black lady dressed in her Sunday best. She had on her hat, and
he was a pastor,
and her husband was a pastor. We had been, talking about him.
She gave us the background, and all of a sudden she just went to channeling, and he was really appreciative of her ass. And she actually said that out loud, and this lady just started cracking up laughing, and I'm like, oh Lord, here we go.
Oh no.
So red. The words were coming out before I could even warn her that it wasn't me. And I was trying to kind of go around it at first and say, well, he's being very complimentary of your body, and you must have been out gardening. Were you gardening the other day? And she's like, yes, I was. And then it just came out like, look at that fine ass. And I thought I was going to drop over.
And the woman on the other side was so appreciative, because that's exactly, she knew that it was absolutely her husband coming through. But those are tough situations. I mean, that's hard to navigate, right? Like you said, it's like,
you have to trust spirit.
Yes.
But it's still delicate.
But you're still living a human experience.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think, for people that do I shouldn't say regular, but that get readings and stuff, they kind of get it. But you're right. The newbies, so to speak, or the ones that have never had a reading, they're like, it's like you said, doing a Reiki session even. So you spend 15 minutes of talking before you actually get into the session itself. And then you're like, well, we got to move fast. Come on, let's go. And, it just starts flooding, and you don't really have a lot of control over it.
Right.
Yeah.
The other part that's hard for us too is, like you said, people who are in this world, but like Stacey was saying, the people who are just excited or just want an experience, or sometimes it's, they come and they say, yes, I'm open to this. Yes, I want a reading. And then they sit like this, and you can feel the energy, right? You can feel the F off energy. So we'll just call it out. We'll say, okay, you said that it was okay to tap in you, but you have a fortress up right now. Your guard is way up. Your fortress is up. And we're like gently tapping. We're not going to force our way in. So you're going to have to take a breath. And if this is what you really want, let us in. And then it's usually, there's some kind of release that happens with that, which is why they sat down with us in the first place. But whoa, that F off energy is woof.
Yeah.
You have to tiptoe in and give them a little bit to almost build your credibility. Like you tell them a little bit, and then the wall starts coming down, and like, oh, they saw that, they hear that, they see that, they feel that. And so by the end of even 20 minutes, they're, bawling and
we're not at one of the expos. There's a vendor, and he watches us, and he's like, you two make everybody cry. I'm never coming to talk to you two. If you don't make them cry, it doesn't happen.
I used to say, I'd walk out of a session, somebody'd say, how'd it go? I said, I made him cry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. It's a
No.
release. It's a good thing. You know,
Right.
it's helping that energy get out and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So
I think ideally that's kind of what they're looking for, right? I mean, they want someone that either sees them for who they really are, or that is able to give them validation of something that they've been fearful of or struggling. So it's such a release, and then the tears come that, I mean, you know, you've delivered the right messages when that happens.
Right. Yep. You've hit home, so to speak. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
You were talking about soul coaching. Now, I know that I forget which area this is in, where people find soul parts and soul fragments and stuff like that. Is that part of that process of finding those pieces of people's soul that have kind of broken off, or
it
anything
can
like
be
that?
Yeah, it can be. It's more about, let's figure out your soul's purpose, and we're going to coach you on the road to, you know, we don't, because your spirit guides don't want life to be difficult, right? I know we're preaching to the choir with that. Yes, there's going to be bumps along the way, but they don't want it to be hard and difficult. So we work with clients, and a part of it can be retrieval if that's what it takes to move it forward. And a part of it is here's, you know, the readings that we're getting from your soul guides and ours, you know, commingling. This is the soul's purpose. And so then we do coaching, like what it goes back to, okay, I'm not happy in my job. Okay, so why is that? What is blocking you? What's preventing you? Let's remove those blocks. Let's have you do, and they have to do just as much as work as we do, right? It's more of them owning that work and doing those exercises to get to the next step.
Okay.
Right, because it's not our job to heal them; it's their job to heal themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. We
Definitely.
we uncover the things that they didn't want to face.
Right.
And then we're a partner
Gently.
along their side.
Gently.
Yep.
We gently uncover it. We have both been through our own trauma. We know what that's like. So we baby step and gently do it.
Nice.
Yeah. A lot of it actually for us, what we're finding is a lot of it is, you know, the consciousness of actually looking inside. When we say raising the consciousness, that's really what we're talking about. Like everybody is conscious of their own crap that they've brought in from other lifetimes in this lifetime. So we help them with the shadows, really. It's the perceived traumas and exercises with that to heal those perceived traumas and then move forward to become more conscious.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember, I think when we first met in the parking lot under a tent, when you were doing that show, you were doing Seagulls. Sickles?
Sigils.
Sigils? Okay, yep.
Yep.
So do you still do that as part of the healing process then?
We do. We don't have a lot of clients that are particularly interested in that, as we had thought. So it's something that we still offer, but
we got to channel Prince for that one because he's the original. I mean, he's the one who brought it out to everyone, right? This is sigil work, but yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was our first public.
Oh yeah, you got it.
Terry.
Yeah, that was our very first
experience without being friends, or you know, with it being people that we've known for so long. So.
Right.
We were just babies back then.
We all were. We were.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. We've come a long ways.
Now, as I'm doing readings for people or communicating with energies, whatever you want to call it, you know, I may be a little bit stubborn listening to them myself, but I do find that as I'm doing a reading for some people, it's like that message is for me too. Have you ever had that where you're reading for someone and then all of a sudden you feel like, wait, that was for me too?
Yeah, I'll never forget. We were at a show quite early after my divorce, and there was a gentleman who sat down in our chair, and he was like the 1% of recovering narcissists. Like narcissists don't usually recover, but he was the 1%, and we were getting all kinds of messages for him. And after that was all done, Stacey looked at me and she goes, "That was for you." No kidding. Wow. Yeah, but that was the healing piece that you needed for you to take your next step. So that was a gift that he sat down, and that was quite a wild reading. That was nuts.
There was a lot of firsts with that one. You know, while we've dealt with some entities before, or we've certainly had some
negative
energies and things like that, most of our experience with people who have crossed has been that there has been some growth on the other side. And that's just typically been the experience. Like, they can see things more clearly. They recognize wrongs. They want to apologize. They want to say things that they didn't say, but there's a feeling of growth that's happened with the soul, right? This poor guy's dad, like, he came through and we were both just kind of taken aback. Like, we don't want to tell this guy what his dad is saying. Asshole on the other side. Like I'm sure he wants to hear his dad say, "I'm sorry."
I say that.
You've already said ass. I don't know.
Yeah, whoops.
You're good.
Whoops, I should've
Yeah, you're good on this
told that ahead of
station,
time.
so
Sorry.
it's all
So, here he was, and he was hurting. He was hurting from what his dad had done in his lifetime. And, we could see all of that and thinking, like, come on, Dad, give him a healing message, right? And nope, he was a jerk. I did not want to tell him what his dad was saying, because I thought that's just going to hurt him worse. I mean, his dad's still trying to hurt him from the other side. And so we were very delicately trying to say, started out by saying, most of the time when we read people that have crossed over, they've enlightened some, their souls feel lighter, there's some growth.
And he just came out and said, "Not my dad." Well, you're right, not your
I
dad.
was like, we're so glad you recognize that, because we don't want to give you the messages that he's sharing from the other side. So it was a very, very good reading.
And the beauty in that too is because he was healing his patterns, he was starting to heal his dad on the other side too. So there was some angst from his dad, because I don't think his dad really wanted that on the other side. He was going to come back and show us all,
Yeah.
But that was a first. Lots of firsts.
Nice.
Yeah. Now, I know as readers, sometimes, where our goal is just to, channel the message for the people and all of that. But there is instances where I've observed, and probably in myself too, where my trauma gets triggered.
Oh,
And I have to discern, is this coming from spirit, or is this me reacting to my trauma being triggered? Have you experienced that before?
I think when I did my own Reiki before I became a master, when I did my own Reiki in sessions, in Reiki shares, yes, I think when I had to relive some things, I was re-traumatized on all of that.
Mm-hmm.
As far as other people, I try to just sift. I try to just be a sifter. I can't recall a time that I've been triggered by a client. But in my own, you bet. And so that's why, because of that experience, we tiptoe we're really gentle with things, because we've seen how if you go in too heavy or too hard on something, it can re-traumatize you. And then there's a whole bunch more work that you have to do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Facebook user. I just want to address the question. We're going to save the psychic questions for when Patty's here. And that happens about 11:30-ish. So if you want to hang on till then, we can get some of your questions answered.
I do like this one from Sylvia, though. She's so just like after a reading and people have this energy, and she's just kind of curious, what do you think is the best way to release that?
To disconnect from your client.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. To me, I guess, I don't know. I almost, like, if I'm tapping into their energy, what's the Avatar
Osmosis.
movie with, like, where they connect their tails or whatever, it's like just unplugging. And then I just physically like wipe it off of me, take a deep breath, and then I channel in white light to just separate from that. It's gotten a lot easier over the years to be able to commingle with the energy and read the energy without absorbing it. So It's
Yeah.
not as hard as it used to be. Initially, it'd be very draining, and I didn't know how to do the reading without becoming engulfed in it. And now it's a lot easier to be able to just kind of to recognize like these are just messages. I'm the receiver to give it to them, but it flows through me and it doesn't sit in me. So
yeah, and I was trying to think, that was a good question too, because consciously I don't know what I do. I think that Reiki on myself and keeping that, tight. And I think I have a gatekeeper that just comes in and helps sift things through. So yeah, a lot of times it's consciously, if my heart's starting to race or something, like, whoa, wait a minute, this isn't my energy. Gatekeeper, where are you? Get rid of this. This is not mine to carry right now.
Right. And then, it's like when we first started doing shows, you would get exhausted. I would get exhausted because we were trying to always get into the next energy and we couldn't get rid of this and do all that. And now I agree. It's like after years of doing shows, it's like, yep, bring them on. We're ready. Come on, you take care of this. We're taking care of that.
Yeah, when you do a show where you have every 20 minutes, there's somebody new sitting in front of you with somebody totally different and different questions and channeling, and that it can be exhilarating. At the end of the day, you can feel a little like
zinged.
Like you suck rag or something, but you're like, oh, like that was, but you just have to wipe it off and detach. And sometimes we will debrief on, like, oh, that was so awesome what this spirit came through to share with them. Like that, we really feel like that was a great message. And other things, she might say something that she observed that was great, and I'm like, I don't even remember that because it goes through so much. It doesn't process. It doesn't stick with me. I don't remember. I absolutely hate the feeling when we've seen someone before and they come back to us and I don't remember them, because they're like, oh, they would start telling me like stuff about like what's happened since and how what we said was right. And this happened like we said it would. And as they're saying it, some of it, I'm like, oh, and I was trying so hard to pull out that memory. But I mean, you do so many readings in the first place and your brain isn't processing it. It's just coming through you. So
I understand that situation. And for us, Christina Bloom, I've talked with her about that. And she said, what is your problem? It's not yours to hold. Why would you remember it?
Right.
Right.
Like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Light bulb. So
real
quick. So in just a half an hour for the lady in California, I'm not sure. It's just wait till a half an hour and Patty will be on. So
we are at the top of the hour. We need to take a little bit of a longer break.
Okay.
And we'll be back with some more questions.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Download the new station calendar and never miss another show. To get it is simple and free. Just visit WLTK-DB.com to download or tap the subscribe button on our mobile app. Once the file is in your downloads folder, just double-click it, authorize it to your calendar, and boom, you have every show listed. Not only does it list the shows, but also the links to watch them live. We would like to thank Danny Loosemore for developing this for us and hope you enjoy it as much as we do. Get yours now at WLTK-DB.com or just click subscribe on our mobile app. See you at the shows. Put the power of this station in the palm of your hand and download our mobile app. Visit the App Store, Google Play, and search for WLTK-DB Talk Radio and download the app for free. Listen to past shows, download our station calendar right to yours, and even shop the WLTK-DB Talk Radio mobile app. Now available on the App Store and Google Play. Download yours now.
Welcome back, everyone, to Soul and Synergy Radio here in WLTK-DB Talk Radio. Oh, I thought you had something, Terry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Another question for you, because you're kind of like the dynamic duo. What do you do when one receives a message that the other one says, no, I got something different? How do you resolve, those kind of differences where you're like, no, that isn't what it meant? Kind of like what Terry and I do when we're trying to find something to do. No, I don't want to do that. Do you ever get conflicting messages?
I can't recall a time that it's happened. Rarely.
Like I could count on one hand.
And usually what's happening is where we might be channeling somebody different. So a lot of times how we first started out, Stacey would get the knowing and then I would get the smells and the music, and it would usually be the same person. But lately we've discovered that sometimes when we don't mesh, we're channeling two different people because we're commingling our gifts now. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I'm on a different person. Let me tap into your energy. I figure it out pretty quickly now, or she figures it out pretty quickly. But the other piece of it is we see things from different lenses, right? So there's a whole big story that's happening, and Stacey might be seeing it from this side and I'm seeing it from this side, and then we're coming together and meeting in the middle. So a lot of times she'll say some pieces and then I'll put some other pieces together that don't sound like they match, and all of a sudden the person in front of us is like, oh yeah, that's how that happened. So
yeah. We don't step on each other's toes that way, but if there's a strong feeling that it's one way or the other, then it's mostly just getting around how are both of these true, because they are. It's just a matter
both
of
hands,
like she said, either the perspective we're looking at it from, or it can be a little confusing. It is hard to come up with an example because it doesn't happen very often, but
right. I just know that we just have learned to say what comes, right? Mm-hmm. I remember one time we were in the middle of an online reading and there were several family members together, and Stacey was channeling a family member and I was channeling a different one, and I'm like, okay, I keep getting, and goat milk smell is a very unique smell, and that's what was coming through. And I'm like, I'm not saying it. She's on a different pathway. I'm arguing with my guides like this is not. And they're like, just say it. Just say goat milk. And so I'm like, all right, I'm smelling goat milk. I just have to put that out there. And then it had been, what was happening is there were the two from the other side who weren't necessarily related. Both were at the event where this family had come together, and they were at a goat milk ice cream store, and they were getting the goat milk ice cream. And so that I'm like, okay, this makes no sense with the path she's going down. But then when I said we were channeling two different people, and one was a direct family member and one was a friend of a family. And they were both at this event together, watching the family together. So that was like, okay, when we finally, we have just learned to just put the puzzle pieces out there because somebody figures it out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You never know where it's going to go.
Right.
So have you ever thought about doing a gallery event together? You know how we have gallery events at shows and all of that. Where we have like Diet or Christina Bloom or any of those things. We had really great experience with Terry and Sherry, and we didn't realize it rhymed until after the fact. But doing a gallery event in Minnesota. Has that ever kind of come up in your thought process of kind of doing something like that?
Yeah, we've thought about it. We've done one gallery event previously.
But we've done it for friends. And we've done galleries for friends a lot. Yeah.
When we have get-togethers, it just kind of turns into a gallery event because they all love to be read. But I don't know. Yeah, we maybe need to put ourselves out there more to do that again.
Because we end up ranting a lot. Back and forth. Yeah.
Well, I can see your conversational style would be something that is congruent with probably that type of environment. So just something to put in the back of your head. But also, one of my boundaries is like when I pick up my tarot deck, that's the key that I'm turned on now. Not literally, but I'm turned on to spirit now. And then spirit will come through and all that. And when I clean the cards after the reading and then set them aside,
Right.
then I put up my close sign. But there have been instances where I've been out and about in the community or whatever, and there's someone there, and it's just like I'm being told to, just say this to this person randomly. You don't know them from anybody else in the world, but just say this to them and walk away or something like that. Do you ever get like those type of things where your close sign is on, but
Yep.
there's just this push that you have to give something to someone?
Yes. And when it's in public and it's a stranger, it's really hard because they didn't ask for it. And
Right.
and so, my boundary is if somebody's not asking for it, I don't know if they're going to be accepting. I don't know if it's going to send them over the edge and they're going to be crying. I don't know. You don't know if they're in the headspace to take it on. But as you can probably attest to, there are some times then even when the close sign is off and you're like, no, I have things to do today, or I don't know how they're going to take this. They will take over your brain until you deliver that message. Like my heart will race, my head, I keep trying to divert it, and they will yell so loud that the only way to get them to stop, it's like a toddler throwing a tantrum, like you have to go up and say, okay, I'm sorry, I just
don't apologize.
I wonder if, I have done it a few times, and I've usually tried to kind of approach it with not necessarily always starting out with, I'm a medium and I have someone that wants to say something, but saying, I'm sorry, this may be difficult, but did you lose someone recently, lose your father or whatever? And if you can tell if they're going to be open or not by their reaction of, it's like, well, how did you know? Or if it's like, yeah, bug off, So I have done it. I've had one experience very early on when I was really trying to understand how to develop my gifts more. My very wonderful husband took me to an expo, and I was sitting in a gallery talk, and this angel cherub kept coming to me and then hovering over top of this couple, and I was getting a reading and feeling things from it. And I told my husband, I said, I really need to give him this message. And my husband, oh, please don't. Please don't. He has been so accepting and so open, and he totally believes, understands, has seen me work. But initially it was a little weird for him and definitely weird to approach strangers. Right. And so he did not want to have to step in between anyone throwing fists or something, I guess. And I said, well, I'm just pulled towards it, and I don't feel like they would be here at an expo like this unless they were open to a message like that. But I won't. If it makes you uncomfortable, I won't do it. So let me run to the bathroom. So I ran to the bathroom before we left, and he's waiting outside for me, and this couple approaches him. And they say, oh, well, we don't see a lot of men here. Are you here with someone or whatever? And they just start talking to him. And then they proceed to leave, and I come out, and he said, okay. He said, you've taught me to understand signs. He said that I don't know why they just came up and started talking to me, but it was a sign that you need to give them a message. So we kind of were looking for him. We couldn't find him. Okay, we need to leave. We go to leave, and as we're pulling out, this car kind of cuts us off, and it's them. And so he's like, oh, geez, now what do we do? I'm like, well, flash your lights at them and see, So they just kept driving. We followed them for like 4 or 5 blocks, like through a stoplight into a restaurant parking lot. And this is one of those times when spirit's talking so loud at you, you're like not thinking about how crazy you look following somebody, like you can't even process. It's just like, I got to deliver this message. And so I jumped out of the car in the parking lot, and it's snowing on all of us. We're freezing. And I run up to them, and they're like, do we have a light out? We saw you following us and flashing your lights. Like, do we have a tail light out? I'm like, no, I have a message for you. I hope that you're open to it. And they, of course, were, and they were very, very grateful. They're like, well, what booth are you at? We'll come back and pay you. I'm like, no, I was just a guest. I just wanted to give this message to you. And so that was probably the craziest one, because really had to go out of my way for it, but it felt right.
And then there's the hard ones. I have had a message that I am going to have to help my ex-mother-in-law cross. And there's, no contact. And I also got a message from my ex-father-in-law to give to my ex-husband. And you have to find a different way. That's not happening. And that's loud in your ears, right? Like they like Stacey said, they don't leave you alone. So I'm getting a daily download of, this is happening. You're going to have to do this. And it's like, oh, why? This hard work already. Why are you asking me to do more hard work?
It's crazy.
It is.
Yeah, they definitely challenge you.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
That's a light word.
Yeah. Right?
Now I got to say nice things in order to make that happen. But just like with psychologists and whatnot, and I'm going to school to be a therapist right now, but there's you read for people all the time and whatnot, and one of the questions that has come up in class, well, who's the therapist for the therapist? So I'm like, who is the reader for the reader? I mean, do you guys have people you go to that read you, or that you kind of go to?
We hold each other accountable. So you forget to do this for yourself, right? You totally forget to listen and do this for yourself. You're open and help so many other people. And then it's like, whoa, yikes. And then, when something is going on in one of our lives, the other one will just say, well, have you checked in with your spirit guides? What are you seeing? And it's like, oh yeah, duh. And then sit quietly. And then there are times when one of us will ask the other one, what do you see? Just tell me what you see. Are you seeing this? Or is there something else that I need that I can't see right now, or that I'm not supposed to? And, if you're not supposed to, we're so connected that we are in tune. We have read together I'm sure this is not our first rodeo together. This is not our first lifetime together, but like if something's happening with Stacey or something's happening with me, it's on the phone right away. What's going on? What are you doing? I'm channeling you right now. There was a tough situation. Stacey had to go speak her truth in a situation, and it was going to be hard. And we're in a room together, and I couldn't be with her to go help her with that in the room. And so right before she left, I grabbed her hand and channeled all of the nervous energy, and I just kept it. And so there's where you really have to be a sift, right? Because I wanted to carry it for her, which I knew I couldn't. But just to channel that through her, I was in a different room when she had to go speak her truth, and I sifted that. At first, my heart was racing and I wanted to vomit when I first grabbed her hand. And I'm like, just give it to me. I've got it. You need your strength. You go speak your truth. And then I had it in me and I'm like, okay, what am I doing with it now? It's like, oh yeah, I got to sift. I can't hang on to this. So we kind of do that for each other.
So, and not to change that subject, but I really think you need to hear this. So you did the little reading for Lee, and she says, so far I have found 7 other things I have been looking for, not the present yet though. One of the things have been missing for 24 years.
Oh, good.
Beautiful.
Keep looking, Lee.
Keep looking. Yep.
Yeah.
And she says, I'm listening and laughing to myself each time I'm finding one of the other items. So
I thought you needed to hear that.
So it's always nice to get some validation and feedback and whatnot. That's really cutely.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Great.
You don't always get it. I mean, sometimes in a reading, you can get it right away. And other times, I don't know if you've had this experience, but it's at expos usually. Somebody gets drug along, or they're going to see what you're all about, or they're very skeptical or whatever, but we'll have someone every couple of expos that will sit down and
to test you.
Yeah. Not give you any any validation on anything. So you start saying things and they are just stone-faced. And you're like, well, it helps if we know that we're tapped into the right person and this is making sense to you before we go down this whole path of, what we think is for you, but maybe it's not. And so we've definitely had those experiences.
Yeah. And then at the end of the reading, you were spot on. Everything was spot on.
Yeah.
I get
Well,
that.
it would have been a more rich reading if you would have participated. Participation.
Right. Yeah. You ever get those, and you get those readings where you're in it, and you're there. You're there. You're getting the shivers, whatever the case may be, all the things they're telling you you're there. And they're like, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Get the reading all done. Hour later, 2 hours later, you get a text message. Oh my God. Yeah.
Like it made
Can we
sense
meet again? Yeah.
Or when they have a friend with them and the spouse, the friend, the child is like, and they'll be like,
no,
like they're shushing them. They don't want them to like give any clues,
or they'll be in denial, and the friend will be like, "Yeah, remember when?
Yeah.
And then
that's never happened to me. That's never happened. And
the friend will be like, "Yes, it did. You remember?"
Yeah. Sometimes I think that even though they think they're ready for the messages, they're not, and until you can assure them that they are,
right,
that's where that wall comes in.
Right.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm so excited to hear that you're going to be a therapist, Danny.
Yep. I'm going to Stout actually.
I love that
for you.
Yeah, so that's going to be a rather interesting mix of
There's
things.
so many people who are blending the Reiki with the therapy. It's just amazing. That's amazing. Woohoo!
I understand you said you were educators as far as profession goes. Terry drove bus for a couple of decades, and he would use after he learned Reiki, use his gifts to kind of calm people down, and especially with special needs, that's something that really kind of works. And then I taught college for 14 years, anatomy and microbiology and that kind of fun stuff, and found it was just useful, even though at the time I didn't know what it was called, doing that connection and stuff. Do you find in like an educator type of role that having these gifts really are benefiting those individuals you're working with?
Absolutely. Yeah. When we were in the classroom, we were the teachers who had all of the kids. We took all of them and could feel what was happening. And actually the kids who were the outliers were our favorite kids because we could tell that they were tapped in, and just the empathy and the connection that you can make with them. Because really education is about the relationships. It's not about the content. It's about the relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And kids, regardless of whatever label they may have on them, are very intuitive.
Yes.
And so they sense when you care about them or not. So whether you have these kind of gifts, anyone can make that connection with them. But I think because we were so authentic with that, our classrooms would be filled with all the kids with labels, right?
Right.
Anyone that had been in trouble or struggled, or, from ADHD and autism to, the kids that just refused to
Come to school. Yeah.
get along with anybody, or, pushed off every boundary. And like Kris said, it is helpful because you can just kind of see what's going on. So you don't have sympathy, you have empathy. You really can feel and tap into and help and calm in situations. I remember having some students that were very overstimulated, and being able to recognize that and knowing how to calm them to help bring them kind of back down into their own bodies and feel calm is definitely a benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. I did special ed the last 6 years, and oh my gosh, but it did get to the point where I could pull the bus over, walk down through, clear it all out, take it with me, get rid of it, and we could get back going again.
Right.
Get to school that night, and the teachers are like, "What'd you do?" I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. You know, yeah.
Yeah, because you can't say I cleared the bus.
Right.
Well, the teachers probably couldn't hear that, but the aides or the assistants could. And,
Yeah.
you know, we talked about that a little bit. You know, just walk by and put your hand on them and just let it go. Because
Right.
you're the ones that are with them all the time.
Right.
You're the ones that are doing that one-on-one from classroom to classroom to classroom, so they get their math and whatever the cases may be. So, you know, those are the ones that needed to learn how to work with them more than the teachers even, I think.
Right.
So, but yeah, it was really cool.
Well, and learning how to deal with it in themselves, I think that's one of the big issues, whether, you know, it's a para or a teacher or a parent.
Yeah.
So often the energy that the adult has is
mimicked.
influencing
Yeah.
the child, and then it just kind of ramps it up. So, you know, it's learning how to control your own energy and that frequency so that the child isn't picking up on it and things snowball from there.
Because our theory is that kids who have the labels are tapped in.
Yeah.
I
And
agree.
they have a foot in both worlds. And so to try to navigate all of that, good gracious, I was like 2 minutes ahead of myself yesterday. All day I was getting all kinds of, and just trying to navigate the 2-minute time shift that I would see something happen and then it would happen and it was like all 2 minutes ahead. I was, okay, take this away because this is driving me crazy. I'm done with this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have about 3 minutes left. Is that right, Danny?
Yeah. Why don't we learn a little bit more about where you're going to be next and how to contact you and that type of stuff, so our audience, if they're interested, can contact you for readings and such.
Sure.
Yeah, sounds good. You are able to book. There are some times available on our website. That is enchantedreadingspecialist.com. And if there are days, times that anyone is looking for, they can feel free to email us and we look for other availability around that. And that is Enchanted Reading Specialists, it's plural, at gmail.com. We will be at the end of the month clearing out of our physical location. And so most of our things will be
Pop up.
Yep. Always virtual. We do a lot of things virtually, but finding if somebody wants to do something in person, we'll find a location to be able to do that for them. And that can just be, shoot us an email with that. We are taking a month off here from any expos and just kind of going to rejuvenate a little bit, you know, working in schools, we need a little bit of a break as well. And then in July, we will be in Maple Grove. And all of the dates, the things that we offer and where we're going to be are also on our website. We update a calendar on there for that.
Right.
We will be putting out some coursework and
more of an online presence for the coaching piece, the soul coaching piece.
yeah, we're putting together kind of a program for that. So if anyone is interested in that right now, keep an eye on the updates there. We do have a Facebook page that we will put stuff out on. It just, for sure, our website will always be the most, you know, updated information and everything on there. So.
Yeah. I think there's a definite advantage to having people who are in like the education minded stuff, developing coursework and classes and stuff in this area. I know I still find myself writing syllabuses for some of the stuff I do.
Right.
And it's just old habit. You know, you can't help yourself. But I think that's it lends some credibility to a lot of the stuff that we do. But
Yeah.
all right.
It is kind of funny because when we got together and I started doing teaching and stuff, and he's like, no, you have it laid out and you got it, you know, and all this stuff. And when you come to see the store, you'll see in our classroom, we have like a 60-inch TV on the wall for a monitor.
80.
You know, so
For PowerPoints.
Yep. And we're
Nice.
all updated, or you can hook into it and do all your things. So, but yeah, so
Yeah.
self-care is important, ladies.
Yes, it is.
Back at ya.
Back at you. Right.
Yeah, right. As we
Right.
get ready to head for
Yeah.
Minnesota for 2 shows. So
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having
Yes.
us on your show.
Thank you very much for being here. And And hopefully you'll get some contact from the audience members and whatnot. It was very informative, and really appreciate you sharing your story with us. So.
Yeah, it was great
All
seeing
right,
you guys again.
Yeah,
it's the bottom of the hour. We'll be welcoming Patty Q here to help answer some of the questions that were coming through through the audience. Otherwise, thanks again, and we'll see you, I'm sure, sometime in the future.
Absolutely.
Bye,
Yeah.
All right,
Thank
take
you.
care. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to WLTK-DB's Soul and Synergy Radio. And we welcome Patty into the room.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, I'm the Ginger Tempest today.
You are the Ginger Tempest.
Yes, I am.
Just today?
Just today, for today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was the unicorn the last time, so I guess we'll have to go with Tempest this week. All right. So Patty is here to deliver messages and to kind of give us an outlook on life coming up. Which would you rather do first, messages or kind of a general message?
Let's do messages
Okay.
before the general message.
Okay. So I got to navigate over here.
Okay.
Okay. So we have Tina. If anyone has any messages or thoughts for me today, I could use it. Like you said, we were talking about coming to truth and manifesting my way and that kind of stuff in our previous segment. But do you have anything out there for Tina?
Yes, Tina. So when you listen to conversations, Tina, about how people grow in their spirituality, and you hear about different things that you believe you should be a part of, a lot of things don't stick because it's not for you. So you have to remember that when you are searching for your own guidance, you have to remember that you are pure in who you are so that you attract the highest good. And when that happens, you see things that fluidly call your name. Like you start to feel better about your day off. You start to feel better about like the thing that used to bother you doesn't anymore. And you believe that there are good things coming your way. And to own the hugest message in the world can be very simple, very guided, very purposeful. So don't make it any bigger than you have to. Only realize in your mind's eye you're already with good guidance. It just has to show on the outside now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And here we have Lee, who is one of our longtime viewers for the show. Where are the gifts? We already answered that one, didn't we? It was funny. She had given us a question for the group where she was looking for presents for someone. And so the Enchanted Reading Specialists, they kind of did a little tap in for like 2 seconds and gave a suggestion, and she ended up finding a bunch of stuff.
Nice.
Some stuff that was not found for 24 years or so.
And it's that connection though too that matters, because that's an act of using that system again for healing.
For sure. Now we have a Facebook user. We don't have a name, so hopefully we can tap into something here. I'm attracted to the man with an initial J. I will see him again next month. Do you see a romance for us, like dating, or is it just friendship?
Well,
I'm not allowed to grab onto, but let's see.
I can say that immediately I felt excited about it. So it shows me that there is something more than friends. And it made me feel that excitement of something like new, and the excitement of being with someone that you are interested in being with. And a lot of times that doesn't show itself until much later.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see this message, I look at it like it kind of comes to you really fast, and then you might not believe it. So that's your natural kind of step back where, wait, slow the roll. I don't believe it. So just take your time with it and see where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But I truly feel that the excitement is going to enliven your capacity to be better,
Mm-hmm.
to look at life better,
Yeah.
to know that it is going to be exciting and new and different. But then, does it stay? Does it stick? Is this something that
Mm-hmm.
I can keep for myself? And I just feel excitement all the way.
Mm-hmm.
So that shows me that do it.
And if
Be
anything, it's a situation that you're meant to do something with.
Yeah.
Regardless of what
Right,
happens,
right.
it's part of your journey to
Right.
decide how am I going to let this energy into my world.
Right. When you meet new people, you either feel right away instinctively that you like being with that person, or you don't like being with that person.
Mm-hmm.
So this connection is favors you very well. So enjoy it and have fun, and don't put unnecessary structure around it until it feels right.
And the only other thing that I just got was make sure with anybody, whether it's this person or someone else,
Yeah.
Anybody in your future, make sure it's not a repeat of someone else that was a disappointment. Don't, when you're attracted to the same person all the time,
baggage. Yeah.
Making sure that it's not an attraction based on previous trauma with other people. Yeah. So that's
a good one.
So Dorothy says, any messages for me today?
Dorothy. Clarity is not always your friend. Remind yourself of trips of the mind, because when you think about things in your head, which often is way too much, you single out the reasons why you think about something for so long, and you lose interest in it, but it doesn't go away. So clarity is the thing and the key for you right now. And when you feel clarity, you slow down. Your mind is softer, and it makes more sense to you. It's important to hear these words because your focus is also a part of clarity. So in focus and clarity, you have meaning, you have a lot to do with in this world. So, but what it does, it makes you feel happier. So you're connected to those measures that are given. And on a sunny day, just open the door, keep it open, and whatever comes, and be happy because you're going to be okay.
All right. Now, Shell is one of our great friends here at the store. She says she's having a difficult day. Any messages from Spirit?
Difficult day. When difficult days hit, they kind of come with, it feels like a warning. Like, don't spend too much time with this, but there's a message in there only for your approach of someone that you know. So this is really diving into what a friendship is with someone. So it's a difficult day because there's something that is a little twisted for you when you think of an acquaintance. And sometimes you lose sight of why it is that you like to be with that person. And in your reality, you look at this like it's something bigger than what it is. Like, am I sick? Or no, you wouldn't think that, but you would say like, do I have to be cautious about the things that I say or do? What is this? You know that it's for you. The meaning of it is only to soften the relationship of someone you know, because then it'll continue and it'll grow. So I like that. It's actually a really good message from Spirit. And Spirit is really good about giving Shell the things that need to stay, but it's structuring yourself to keep it.
Yeah.
And in a system that is keeping information, you have to know, well, is it mine? Is it for someone else? How am I supposed to deal with this? What is this truth? So Spirit's actually pushing you into another leveling of understanding so that you can understand people that you're with more.
Can you pick a card for Shell?
I would love
Find a card
to.
in the deck to pick. Oh. Shell is part of our Divination Lab. I don't know if you remember this card, Shell, but it's called the Minstrel. It shows a guy playing his music with a companion with him and a close friend. So if there's anything that I can suggest for today related to your question or your comment, is put on the music that makes you feel good about you, or that reminds you of you and someone else, or something like that, and just listen to it and have those happy feelings again.
Very well done. Nicely done. Nicely done.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, we have some more down here. Tina wants to know, should she take the supervisor job?
Supervisor job. You know, these are kind of fun questions because you sit with, I mean, this is like so interesting where you feel like I really could do that job. And then it stops for me because you have to put more belief behind, I can really do that job and know it and take it. So why did I say that? The feeling that you have about approaching something new, you've already made up your mind almost. So when I think about it, it's almost like you're ready to knock on that door. You're right there. You just have to open it and feel good about it. Will it give you more gain? Yes. Will it be a good experience? Well, as a supervisor, not everything is wonderful and full of love and light, but it should be. Yeah. But you are a stable person where you believe that in the things that you can supervise with will be a good thing. And I think that people will follow your lead really well. So nice job.
All right. Diana has a weird question. Those are really scary to see, those two words first. If you have time, please, do you see work with chocolate as being something that comes up for me?
Oh, I love chocolate.
Yes, me too.
Work with chocolate. In terms of career, it doesn't fill up for me, but will it ever is a point that you can ask yourself. I don't know. I find it very cumbersome right now. I don't believe that it's really yours right now, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to be. So if that's not what you wanted to hear, but I really feel like it's, if that were the case right now with chocolate being something that you would do, it would take you away from some other important things you need to do right now.
Okay.
So,
but if it has anything to do with making those no-bake oatmeal chocolate peanut butter type of cookies, please send them our way.
Bring them over.
Yeah, just bring them over, because that's something that I would absolutely love right about now. I remember having them when I was younger. It was just like they would never last on the pan. It was just nom nom. All right. So then we have Sylvia. I would love to know what my spirit guides need me to hear and work on.
Sylvia, spirit. There are quite a few spirit dwellers that are always with you because you are so good at working with them for what they bring, what they offer you, that you don't really need any big guns like spirit guides always following and always giving. So you've really done well with allowing spiritual beings to align with better, with higher, whether it comes to your own personal well-being or whether it's something that they want you to see differently, something that you're not doing as you need to. But really, I love the setup of your spirit dwellers because they're very good at giving you information that you need to understand. The message that is, I think, newer for you is that there are individuals, living individuals, that you have in your life that will increase and like closer the thing about that is that then you are more aware of what those people believe or how you feel with them more in your life. Being with spirit always brings things you don't expect. So when you have people in your life that you like to be with, spirit likes to enhance that so that you can enjoy it more. And also the one thing that they're saying through you is don't hesitate so much. So when they give you message or when they give you suggestions, or I should say thoughtfulness, the simplicity of it needs to make you move forward sooner. And you're learning that very well. But you could say that about anybody, you know?
Okay.
But good for you.
Lee asked in the other feed that I just kind of checked. While she's finding, family heirlooms, the Flintstone vitamin she swallowed as a child, and, finding all these things, she still hasn't found the exact present she's looking for. The Enchanted Reading Specialists narrowed it down to like by a dresser under bags and stuff like that. Just in your mind, what's the first thing that comes to you that says in her house, where's this present?
She wants more of a guide in her presence.
No, an actual physical present, like giving a birthday present.
Oh, present.
Yeah. Where do you think her missing present is in her house?
They immediately said in a dark place. I always think a basement, but it could be just for you. It could be like something darker, so that when you're there, you can't quite see it. So it's standing in front of something and letting your spirit be pulled. So they're going to use this as an example. They're going to pull her towards what it is that she's looking for, and she'll find it.
I think, just don't think about where you're going in your house. Just move which way.
Just move and feel it.
Just feel which way you're supposed to be going. Don't double guess it.
Absolutely.
Don't do any of those things. Don't
Absolutely.
think. Just walk aimlessly in your house towards wherever it is.
And it's a good exercise to do with spirit. Yeah. Very good.
I actually think it's in the trunk of her car.
Well, it's a dark space.
Is there such thing as car trunks? Oh yeah. I don't know. I remember the kind of trunk of a car that I had where you had to use the flathead screwdriver to put into the thing to open it up. Because the keyhole didn't work anymore. I'm that old.
Ooh, I'm older.
Old 78 Nova. But let's see. Okay. In case it got lost, I lost someone very special to me in March. Sorry, Jackie. So you know who came for them. I've really been struggling since. Or who came to take them, I think is what she's asking.
So who greeted that person when that person left?
I think that's what she's asking.
So when this person left, it was very singular. So it meant that there was more importance on that person leaving the place that kept their soul to then be processed quickly. Everyone gets that hand that reaches out, but this one is very kind of interesting because they couldn't delay any longer. They had to place the reason for leaving and go. So I see a line of people that had passed that were waiting. Honestly, I don't know that anyone, I think that Angel just took the whole piece and swiftly moved along. They were there, but I don't see a hand. And it doesn't mean a bad thing as much as it means that when you are in a place of release, you have to allow for the higher reason, and everything falls into place. And when you have a danger of losing or missing out on a piece of that person, it has to be gathered quickly, swiftly, and move. That's exactly what happened. Swiftly.
All right. And then the last question before we get into your general, Alicia's just wondering, now I got to find it again. She's open to anything that she needs to know.
What was the first name again?
Oh, I'm
Alicia?
sorry.
Alicia? Okay, Alicia. sometimes feel like you're being crowded with too much going on in your life makes you feel like you're not in charge of what is going on in this life. It makes you question the things about placement. It makes you believe that I don't know what I'm doing, but I can't do this anymore. The feeling of connection is wavered, where, like I said, nothing greets and meets you. Spiritual beings have a place for you, but you have to own it. You have to place yourself in a very lit place in your mind's eye to know that spirit guide can allow you peace and calm. There's too much work, what you call work, and you have no peace. So you really do need a kind of an awareness piece that pushes everything to the side and makes you see things as a relaxed breath. And that very much follows with information through spirit. Absolutely.
Yes. Well, thank you for providing our guests or our audience with some readings today. Do you have something general everybody needs to know?
I do. It's a good thing you asked that. You know, everyone has an idea of what all this means. So the word that I love is, and it sounds so corporate maybe, but is cohesion. You know, when you work with a team of spirits, when you work with a guide, when you work with living people who also are helping you find peace, you have to remember that if it's brand new, you have to allow for the important pieces to come first. And then you have to allow the alignment to take you, meaning that you have to put yourself in a way that is fulfilling your own self. So when you find that you feel better inside and out, when you feel yourself growing and attaching to life's force, it is peaceful and it matters. So when you think of cohesion is like, it's a lot like working with a great bunch of breathing, living people, and you learn a lot. You sit back and listen more. So when it's a spiritual team, it's the same thing. You are allowing for them to give you guidance. You're allowing them to reconnect you to something you had forgotten, or perhaps it's something to correct your line of awareness. A lot of people believe in things that are not true, and that can coat a very pleasurable existence because it grows fear or misplacement, and there's nowhere for it to go. So you really are asking for the purest of spiritual signs to come and help you. And what I find really interesting is that without hesitation, spirit dwellers and guides are there immediately. So if you believe you're all alone, you're not. If you believe that you are not connected, well, that's not true either, because everybody is. But it's all in awareness. It's all about the approach, the cohesion of awareness. And it's effective, it's brilliant, it's huge. And you then find your life's reward. You find more compassion, you find more willingness, you find more ease of things that used to bother you. You find clarity, you find purpose, calm. The list goes on and on. But if you only had one word, what would that one word be? And I always say happiness. If you can have a team to help you become happy, there are so many millions of things that fall under that word happy. Everything falls under happy. If you're happy, what level? Is it like huge to the roof huge? Yes, great. But there's more. Do more. And trust that messages are always given properly when it's streamed through an angelic presence. And every one of you, everyone in this world has an angel to always help So if you connect yourself through the purity of its message, believe it, do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you will find an impressive kaleidoscope of color. I didn't think about that very long because they show me colors.
Mm-hmm. Kaleidoscope.
Yep. And color is a soothing method. It's a clarity method, because if you move with color and you feel so good with that color, inside embedded is 10 million conversations about being happier.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about the color you're standing with, is it a bright hue of blue? Is it a brighter yellow? Is it like a salmon? Is it like a hue of light golden touch?
Mm-hmm.
So everybody has color. Just allow yourself to believe that there is something there that can help you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important that when you promote your own self, happiness follows. And it's always beautiful to be with a team that you love. Spirit guides, spirits, family members who are alive, family members who have gone. It just never ends.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you need. It's exactly what you need.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I just want to let everybody know that the Patty Q video series is well on its way.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be displaying that on a special page on our website here once I get done kind of cropping and adding and doing all that other fun stuff, and deleting all the swear words out of the videos, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So the Patty Q series will be out there, and we'll be adding to it regularly,
Mm-hmm.
because Patty has a lot of messages from just about everything, pretty much. And then also again, we'll be having the in-person creating your army,
Mm-hmm.
to assign spirit guides to the things that you need, and then virtual. I think we'll rotate them every other week.
Yeah.
And then we are also going to be starting Healing Wednesdays.
Healing Wednesdays.
From 12 to 1, where
Mm-hmm.
people can come in and have a seat and have a little healing session,
Mm-hmm.
maybe on their lunch hour
Mm-hmm.
or something like that.
Exactly.
So having that as an opportunity as well coming up soon. So please make sure to kind of watch our Facebook page, our webpage for additional information like that, and especially the calendar on our webpage, because that really lets you know exactly what we're up to.
Right.
And then also the events list on our Facebook page to kind of
Mm-hmm.
find where we're at. One day I'm going to be able to get Patty and be her own gallery at some point at one of the shows, where she can really kind of test her abilities in that type of an environment. I'll get you to do that eventually.
It's always a perfect storm.
Yes, that's why I'm the Ginger Tempest.
Yes, you are.
I kind of push those kind of things out to challenge people.
Yes, he does.
But it's been a great show. Again, thank you to the Enchanted Reading Specialists for joining us, for Patty, for coming in for this segment of the show. And as always, if you're in the area this weekend in Alexandria, Minnesota, or Detroit Lakes, please visit us at the Holiday Inn from 10 to 5 for our wellness shows, or otherwise just keep a lookout for where we're going to be in the world and try to make it there. So thanks again, everyone. Have a great week, and we'll see you back on next Friday.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.